Welcome back to another edition of the Tarot and Tea. Just in case this is your first time stumbling across me, I am Safrianna Luna, the Queer Spirit Guide. I am a Druidic Priestess of Brigid, a transformational mentor and a trauma therapist, and an author, and a multi-passionate human. And I enjoy going live every Monday, typically in the morning, to tune into the energy that is here, to drop in for some moments with you, pull some cards, get some messages, and then I give a little personal update, which of course you are not required to sit around for, but some people really enjoy my little personal updates since they're in my world. So let's dive into the energy first with the activation we are being invited into this week. So this is really the this is the vibration or the energy from the sacred geometry activation that we are being invited to embrace this week. And it is the card of healing. So take a moment to look at this beautiful color combination. We've got a lot of verdant life here. The number 29, if that is significant to you. The frequency of healing supports our intrinsic ability to restore our health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. So, I love this message of harmonizing everything accordingly to the messages that we receive through our senses that we're picking up. And in fact, I got a lovely voice memo from a client, community member, friend this morning who was really talking about exactly this sort of soaking up sensory information in a way that makes us feel more alive, that brings us more into our bodies, that gives us important information about what is here for us to follow, what we want to follow versus maybe what is not for us. And so this healing card to me is really speaking to the need right now for us to listen to ourselves, to listen to what our bodies are trying to communicate to us, and just step into healing. And it's really interesting. My sort of manifestation of the year is to step into more health, more physical alignment. And I was literally thinking about that in bed this morning. So I'm not surprised that this is the collective energy coming through, is for all of us to love our bodies more, to listen, and to step into an even more beautiful level of healing. So that is our energy activation for the week. Let's see what the tarot message of the week is. So I don't know about y'all. I know that this last week was a lot energetically, and we had I believe it's pronounced Barbault. I've seen it like 6 different ways from different astrologers. The spelling I saw was like Barbault's basket, and it was this big astrological moment where literally the various angles being created between the planets and signs were creating this perfect basket shape. And so there was a lot of receiving of information, I feel like, that came through. And so now that we are moving out of that, yesterday our nodes, our North and South node, shifted into Aquarius North, Leo South. And those are the placements of my birth. I might talk a little bit more about that in the tea. But I'm just feeling all these transitions, and I'm wondering how you all are doing too with these transitions and the energy that's coming through. All right, our tarot message of the week is the 6 of Cups. So we have this figure looking out, seeing these children playing in the yard, and there's a wistful sort of quality here. There is, a happiness. You can almost see this gentle smile on his face. And this is really about, it's actually very interesting, integrating our memories and reunion or exchange in some way. So 6s represent balance. They represent meeting. They represent union. And this is really inviting us to be in our heart space, to really step out of the mind for a moment, because the mind uses very linear time, past, present, forward, future, to try and orient. And this card is actually saying, no, Step into your heart. Be in pure feeling as you look back, as you look forward. Do not be bounded by time. Instead, allow them to merge. Allow all time to merge so that you can be in only love. And from there, what unfolds? What happens when you are only in love? So this can indicate integrating gifts and experiences of our past. I actually think I might have pulled this card for myself earlier this week in a different deck. And another thing that's here in this card is really looking back to your childhood, back to what you can remember of when you were young and you were free and you were joyful and you were playful and you were creative, and maybe hopefully you felt safe for a period of time. And what were the things about that point in time that you want to pull through to the now, that you want to source in your life and integrate as a part of who you are in this chapter? So for me, I know it's a lot of my childhood creativity and my love of nature, 1111, by the way, that we are really I'm standing back with my young self and forward in time with my younger self to integrate the knowingness that I've had all along of my connection with nature and with creativity. So what from your childhood are you being called to connect with on a deeper level? What from your past do you want to bring consciously to the present? And just know that when all is in love, nothing is lost in the heart. Nothing is forgotten in the heart. There is only love. So that is our message of the Six of Cups for the week. And then finally, the Keepers of Light asked us to be the oracle for the day. And the Keepers of Light are helpers, but they also have themes. So whether you believe in angels, ancestors, guardians, guides, external forces, etc., or you just want to receive the medicine of the wisdom of the card, that's totally fine. But I always say these ascended masters, these Keepers of Light, these guides, they want to be here for us to support us in this week, our healing and our integration of the younger selves, the younger parts of us, the inner children that are waiting to be played with. So how can you and how can we really support ourselves? Okay, we're double dipping on some themes here. How can we really support ourselves in this healing and in this inner child union? All right. So first we have the Miriam. The Miriam is about sacred vision. These sacred twins are very divinely loving. Choose to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all. Remember that love has no boundaries. So we literally have boundless love and healing indicated in this card. There's something big coming through this week. Like there is some big, big, big healing energy coming through this week. What is your sacred vision? Your highest vision of a life where you are not holding on to the heavy weight of your past anymore. Your palms are open. You're open to receive. You've softened into safety. You are creating more with life. What does that look like for you? What have you done for yourself? This is the vision that you are being invited to hold, because this vision is hopefully leading you to some forgiveness so you can heal. This does not necessarily mean forgiving people who have wronged you, though that can be really lovely to forgive, right? And remember, forgiveness does not necessarily mean letting someone back in our life. Forgiveness simply means, whether this is for someone else or for ourselves, forgiving ourselves, which I think is a big part of this healing. It's forgiving ourselves. But forgiveness is just acknowledging, yeah, at the end of the day, I choose to release this burden, this grudge, this weight I am carrying, where I am constantly embroiled in tough emotions around what happened in the past. It is a releasing back to the universe. It is a surrendering. It is a choosing to set something down. It's not, again, it's not always an inviting someone back in. It's not always a turning the other cheek and letting something happen again. It is an acknowledgement sometimes that we're human, that we have a negative impact from time to time, all of us, but some more than others. But that we have an impact. We need to own that. Other people need to own that, but we don't have to carry the stories for forever. So the Miriam wants you to hold that higher sacred vision in order to heal, to see the light in all. Then we have Hilarion, and Hilarion is all about divine healing. So like I said, we're getting some double dipping here. Honor your sensitivity. Oh, I can't wait for you know who. If you know, you know. I can't wait for you to hear this. Honor your sensitivity. Retreat to recharge and heal. Your light can support others. So this message is really about the need to take care of ourselves. So we have this first theme of forgive yourself and others if you need to. Here we're being asked to really shine our light, but to take care of ourselves so that we can shine that light by first retreating and recharging. So if you are feeling burnt out, if you are feeling exhausted, if you are feeling like you're on the struggle bus right now, Hilarion is really wanting you to take that step back to recharge, to go into yourself for a little window of time so that you can honor your sensitivity. We can't honor our sensitivity when we're constantly in the burnout. We can't honor our sensitivity when we're constantly like frazzled. Like clockwork, we get our spam call in the middle of our tarot and tea. So again, this divine healing message here is really about honoring what's here, honoring that sensitivity and taking that time for you. And then finally, we have Djwal Khul, and this is Dharma unfolding. He looks very gentle, very loving. Remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. So the message here is really, I think that as we look back into the past and we look into the future and we spin ourselves up, we can get really lost in the sauce of all the actions we need to take and, you know, what we feel like we need to do and what's important to do and what we need to have gotten done and our to-do list, blah, 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 right? We get into a very hustle mindset. He's really reminding us, you're on the path. Just take one step forward, one step at a time towards more and more and more happiness. Not more and more stuff, not more and more outside approval, not more and more societal success, but happiness within ourselves, which I think really comes from being in our authenticity and living a life that is in our values. So let's recap the messages here. First, we have healing. Healing is marking the whole frequency this week, the invitation we are being called into. So how can you step into your healing journey, not in like a hustly way, not in a, oh my God, I've got another thing I've got to do way, but in a gentle heart opening way of I am allowing more healing. I am allowing myself to consciously connect with my health and wholeness. And I'm receiving information from my senses and harmonizing accordingly. The Six of Cups is really in this healing journey, reminding us that it's okay to go back and retrieve younger parts of ourselves, the glimmers of childhood where we felt fully free, where we felt creative, where we felt playful, to bring those into the now and to integrate the wisdom of those parts of us. We have the Miriam, remembering or reminding us to hold our sacred vision, to, again, kind of be in this forward-thinking vision of what are we calling in? And is there anyone that we need to forgive in order to heal, whether that is ourselves or someone else? Remembering that forgiveness does not equal access. Hilarion, all about divine healing. Again, a major double dip this week of reminding us to honor our sensitivity, to stand in the power of what we know to be true for ourselves, to open our hearts, this green chakra color here, and to really be the light and support for others, but that we have to do that by taking a step back and taking care of ourselves. And then finally, Djwal Khul, Dharma unfolding. Really, really remember that you are on the path. You cannot really stray from your path unless you turn your entire back on yourself. Okay? Otherwise, you might stumble off the path a little bit. You might get lost in the woods or the weeds, and that's okay. That's being human. As long as you are not turning your back on your path and walking the other way, exactly where you need to be. So take one step at a time towards your authentic happiness, your joy, your expression. I believe in you. So those are our messages for the week. I hope that they are nourishing, inspiring, and drop you inward to this next stretch of the journey. So I'm going to transition now into the tea time, which is my personal update. Today I am drinking Lapsang Souchong, which is that very smoky campfire tea. And I'm drinking it with a caramel oat milk latte mix-in. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but that's where we're at. It's what we got. So speaking of retreat, I was like laughing so hard about this guy. Speaking of retreat to recharge and heal, I am going to go into my hermit cave for the next several days as much as I possibly can, because I'm coming off of a week of 4 in-person social events. And I'm not talking like a little dip in. I'm talking 4, 6+ hour events. Events, not all of them were events, but like events as in actions I'm taking in my life. And my little hermit line 2 in human design is absolutely exhausted. So I have a couple more writing days this week. I have my midweek newsletter that comes out every Wednesday, which, by the way, that actually came up recently, and I do want to say that my newsletter is currently a newsletter exclusive. It's not released over here on Substack. And I've realized some people follow me here on Substack who don't follow me in my newsletter. And if you want those newsletters, which are even more deep dive, like they're 2,000, 3,000 words most weeks. Not all weeks, but most weeks, because I'm verbose. But I dive into what I'm going through, stories behind the scenes of my life. I give healing prompts, and sometimes I pull extra cards and things like that. But if you're not on that list, you can go to my website, safrianna.com/newsletter or safrianna.com/free. Sign up for any of the freebies and you'll get on my newsletter list. And you'll get the entire library unlocked for you. But I just want people to know that that is a separate thing that you can go access and get extra content. I'm trying to figure out how to make a database at some point in the future of all the prior newsletters so that people who come in later can go back and read. But also some of the content is so juicy that I'm wondering if it's not going to turn into another memoir or inspirational book at some point. And on that note, books. I'm running out of excuses. I can already tell that this week's newsletter is probably going to be called just that. Like, I'm running out of excuses. I'm running out of excuses. I can't not share my books anymore because I'm running out of excuses. I have been living I've lived my whole life with fear. If you're in my world, you know that I teach and study something about there being 9 different physiotypes of people. And there are 3 Achilles heel emotions that we all experience, but some of us experience more poignantly than others. And that's shame, fear, and disappointment. And I am one of the fear Achilles heel people. And I lived and survived so much trauma, talking about our younger selves and going back and retrieving parts of them. Like, I had experienced trauma as early as 3 and 4 years old. And then my trauma became pretty much daily from 9 years old to 15 years old. And then continued, not daily, thank God, but continued through most of my young adulthood life. So I have lived with a lot of fear as a physiological being who holds more fear, and then as a human being who's experienced so much trauma and trial. And so I have navigated a lot of fear of visibility. I've navigated a lot of fear of failure. And now I'm really in the fear of success, because what does it mean if I share? I've heard just so many people say that they love The Wind Sings Sorrow, that like it was so powerful, that they're blown away by my writing and my characters and like all these different things. And so I'm getting that really positive feedback of people being like, yes. I'm getting that positive feedback from friends when I talk about my writing versus when I talk about literally everything else I do in the world. They're like, you light up so much more and you become just such a more emergent person and your energy shines. And it's like, yes. Yes, I know that writing is my calling. I have known writing was my calling since I was 6 years old. And like conscious enough to make a choice for myself of what I might want to do. I want to be a pop singer and a dancer and an archaeologist and all of these other things. But the writing never left. The writing and the desire to write and share and be an author never left. And I am running out of excuses to not share my book with the world. So I'm in that fear of success. What happens if it all blows up? What happens if my book goes #1 bestseller because I actually push it and market it for once? What if I'm invited to a bunch of book talks or shows or podcasts or all of this, and suddenly I have all this stuff available in my schedule, right? Like I'm really being invited to remember that I'm the one who gets to decide for me of the options that are made available. And so for anybody else out there who might be fearing success, fearing your life getting too busy, fearing that this really good thing you want is going to come back and bite you, I see you. I hear you. And we've got to move forward anyway. We have to choose what lights us up and what we know is ours to do. And I know that sharing post-apocalyptic, speculative, science, fantasy, eco-lit is a huge part of the impact that I am here to make on the world, because my writing is here to invite people into the depths of the human psyche, into our struggles, into our shadows, into hope for the future, even though I'm writing from a mostly post-apocalyptic perspective. We've got to create hope for the future. And if our characters can survive impossible odds, maybe so too can we. So that's my plan for the rest of the day. I'm going to get this tarot and tea, reposted and get you all the pictures of the cards and all that fun stuff. And then I'm going to spend as much of the day as I can writing. I am officially over 30,000 words. I haven't done an updated word count, but I'm pretty sure I'm at like 33 to 34,000 words or something now. I am on the 8th chapter, very close to done with the 8th chapter. Or the 9th chapter. It's all a blur, right? The writing and the scenes. There's been action fatigue because it has been a very intense beginning to the book. It's just been a process, and I'm going with it. And I'm learning so much about myself and my patience theme in life and how to honor myself, my body, my pace, all of that. So it can be done, my friends. We can change our relationship with ourselves, and I hope to continue to be a living example of that, day by day, moment by moment, as our last beautiful guide here said, to take one step at a time on our path towards happiness. It doesn't all happen overnight, and there is happiness each and every day. So let's just take a moment here at the end of our time together and just really expand into the now moment, soften our hearts, and open our minds to possibilities that we might not have been willing to actually look at before for some reason. Maybe we have been towing the line of a grand possibility, something so amazing for our lives, but we've been afraid. We've been worried we'll disappoint someone. And we've kicked up an old shame that says we can't do what we want to do. Releasing, releasing, releasing any shame, fear, or disappointment, turning it over to the universe, to our higher power, to our higher self, to our guides, whomever we want to help us alchemize, to liberate, to turn fear into courage, shame into confidence, and disappointment to playing in the realms of possibility and learning and expansion. And just know that as you drop in and you listen and you make space for yourself, you can finally hear the messages that have been trying to come through. So take a moment here as I send you on your way to really be with yourself. Extend this moment and be with yourself today. Stay with yourself. Listen, hear, and know. So with the utmost love and gratitude, my friends, I just want to remind you that I do have a free heartbeat community called the Rebel Elements. If you're not there, come join me there. I'll make sure that the link is down below in the replay. And I have a full moon ceremony coming up on, I believe, Wednesday. That I can't even keep track of time anymore. Like I said, this week has just been wild, but I will be live on YouTube for this full moon in Aquarius, and I will have that link below as well. So I love you all so much. I see you, I believe in you, and I'm cheering you on. And may this week's messages carry you forward in love. All right. Bye for now, my friends.